Getting a little testy down in Lincoln today, not really between the Huskers and Hawkeyes because we all know this isn't a rivalry yet. But it was for Bo Pelini. Would this be his last game as the Nebraska head coach? Would this be the last time he guides his team out of the tunnel in the north end zone? He'd coach this one without Taylor Martinez and without Tommy Armstrong, both injured, leaving this one for Ron Kellogg to make his first ever start on senior day, and it's not a good start. He throws this one right to Anthony Hitchens, his first career interception for the Hawkeyes, but the Black Shirts would hold on and get the ball back for Nebraska. Deep in their own zone this time, Kellogg again with another turnover. His second interception of the game has Bo crossing his arms, wondering when all these turnovers will stop. Iowa and Jake Rudock make them pay. 3rd and goal, Rudock finds C.J. Fedorowicz, sweet last name, 10 yards out to crack the scoreboard first. It's 7-0 Hawkeyes in Lincoln. This is where the shenanigans really start to happen. Jordan Westerkamp apparently can't see this punt. Remember him from the Hail Mary? He lets it bounce, rolls all the way down inside the Husker 1-yard line. Very next return, Westerkamp, he decides to catch that one. Not a good decision. That puts the Huskers behind the 8 ball yet again. Iowa conservative all day long, and it works out for them. Mark Weissman gets the carry here, bounces it outside. It looks like he gets into the end zone, but the review says he did not. But he just punches it in on the very next play. Iowa up 14-3 at the break. Amir Abdullah not a factor in the first half, so he comes out, runs for 30 yards in the opening drive of the third, caps it off with a 5-yard touchdown right there to cut the lead to 14-10. Huskers still in business. And that's when the drama really kicks in. 2nd and 12, Iowa up 4. Rudock fires it to his tight end. It goes over his head. Ref throws the flag. Bo Pelini throws all caution to the wind. He flips his lid and gets a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty tacked on that keeps the Hawkeyes drive alive. But the Black Shirts hold yet again. It's 17-10. Next possession, Pelini decides to fake punt would work, but Sam Foltz, he's knocked out of bounds well short of the first down marker, and Iowa again making them play. Very next play, Jake Rudock to Cavante Martin Manley, 24 yards out on the rollout right in the back of the end zone. Rudock 9 of 15, 126 yards and 2 touchdowns, yet somehow Nebraska is still kicking. On 4th and 3, Kellogg dumps it out to Quincy Enunwa, and he does the rest. 15 yards, diving into the end zone for the score. That cuts the Iowa lead back to just 7. Enunwa with his 10th TD of the season. Nebraska again with a chance to tie it. Amir Abdullah gets the handoff, and he's lit up. A fierce hit that knocks the ball loose, and that's turnover number 3 on the day for Big Red. It was and always is a big problem with this team. Iowa, nothing special offensively. They just hand the ball off. Here's Jordan Kenzeri, who rips off 37 yards inside the Huskers 5. Mark Weissman would punch it in on the next play. Hawkeyes are the hero game winners today. 38-17, the final over Nebraska, but immediately following, Bo Pelini facing the music on his future, saying it's the media's fault that he's on the hot seat.
You guys have chose to make a story of it all year.
Bo Pelini turning up the heat on his seat after that press conference, not apologizing to anyone. He's definitely not doing himself any favors. Let's go back to Lincoln, where we find our own Garrett Gordon. You were there listening to Bo after his 4th loss of the season. And from what I understand, the fireworks didn't end with the press conference itself. The recent history supports Creighton and Nebraska on the hardwood as a rivalry or not is irrelevant. It's a big game. You can tell by the uniforms, both sides breaking out new outfits. Even Billy Blue Jays sported new gear tonight. That's right. Jays up for this one and came out firing on all cylinders. Doug McDermott splashing one from the top of the key to get Creighton out to an early 10-point lead. The guy was absolutely on fire. Then Grant Gibbs with the pump fake, then the drive for the jam. The old man still has it. Jays lead 44-14 at one point in the first half. Tim Miles' halftime tweet says, not sure if that half deserves a tweet. They kicked the crap out of us. There's Taryn Petaway breaking loose for the jam, one of his 21 points, but too much Jays from beyond the arc. They all hit 11 threes from 3 different players, and then it's McDermott with the alley-oop. He gets up 33-8 for the All-American Jays all day, 82-67. That's 12 out of the last 15 meetings in Creighton's favor. Not too shabby.
You have to credit Creighton. They did not start like that.
McDermott did the Dougie all night long, 12 of 23 from the floor for 33 points, the 18th time in his career he topped 30 in a game. And how would Andy Reid and the Chiefs handle the snow and the Redskins earlier today? Quite handily, actually, and Kansas City would score several different ways. First up, that's Jamal Charles on the ground, 2 yards out. It's 10-zip Chiefs. To the air now, Alex Smith to Dwayne Bowe, 21 yards out. Terrible tackling from the Redskins. It's 17-0 Kansas City. Smith 14 of 20, 137 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now it's 24-0. Let's see some special teams. Dexter McCluster really fast. He's awfully special, 74 yards. Punt return. The Chiefs also had a kickoff return for a touchdown. They smother the Redskins 45-10, ending their 3-game skid. Well, a big role for me as a sportscaster is almost like a weatherman, predicting what might happen. As long as I get somewhat close, I keep my job. Well, I'm not sure anyone predicted the Royals to be in the playoff hunt, much less a pennant race in mid-August. But they are. Kansas City beginning a 5-game series with the Central leading Tigers. To Detroit, where the proud new baby daddy, Alex Gordon, back in the lineup for the Royals, and he does what Alex Gordon does. A little base knock to right that puts KC up 1-zip, but that will be his only hit of the night. Detroit's lineup, one of the best in the American League, and it's because of guys like this. A devastating uppercut swing from Pence fielder, 18th swagger bomb of the year, and the Tigers take the 2-1 lead. However, we haven't even mentioned Miggy Cabrera. He's hitting .437 with 17 home runs with runners in scoring position. Yeah, he's got a man on third there and just continues to punish pitchers. A blooper into center makes it 4-1. Tigers win by that score and push their lead over the Royals in the Central to 8.5 games. Back on the farm, it's the Storm Chasers wrapping up its series with Fresno, and that's John Lamb making his AAA debut. He hasn't won a game since late May, and that won't change tonight. Lamb serves up one right in the meat market for Carter Eureka. He's screaming Eureka after a 2 RBI single. Grizzlies take out the Chasers 6-1 and claim the series 3-1. That's it for sports. We'll be right back. The Gophers were smarter, more disciplined, more focused, and the bottom line, they were flat out better, and by a large margin yesterday in Minneapolis. Nick, it was a beating nobody saw coming, but maybe we should have seen it coming. When things don't go well for this team, they snowball. And if we've learned anything from the past, the Huskers struggle to turn around their fortunes when adversity hits them right in the face.
Yeah, you know, listening to the coaches.
It's the first loss to Minnesota in 17 tries, but there is still refuge knowing that the goal of a Big Ten championship, even though hard to believe, is still very possible for the Huskers. At TCF Bank Stadium, I'm Chase Williams, KMTV Action 3 Sports. College football doesn't get much better than what happened last night in Lincoln. I don't care what you think about the head coach, where the program is headed, that play is what fans live and die for. Let's bring back in Joe Quinn. The catch, it was simply unbelievable, yes? It's a question that every Husker fan has thought about at least once over the past few weeks. The 4-year starter and program leader in career offense sidelined by injury. His replacement, a redshirt freshman, has been nearly flawless. So that question that once was thought to be ridiculous is quickly becoming a reality. So I'll ask it, Taylor or Tommy? You see this scenario so many times in football. Star QB goes down to injury, and the replacement shines in his absence. At some point, Taylor Martinez will be healthy. But is he the best option to lead the Huskers to a conference title, especially when Tommy Armstrong has done nothing but become Touchdown Tommy Part 2?
Taylor, you know, he's the guy of design.
2003 was the last time the Chiefs started a season a perfect 7-0. I think I still had a flip phone, and HD, which we are in right now, was only a figment of our imagination. But TV, much like the Chiefs, have come a long way in 10 years. Kansas City trailing by 3 at Arrowhead, but they're driving. Alex Smith finds Anthony Fasano to set up a 1st and goal from the 1-inch line. You know what comes next. A handoff to Jamal Charles. That's a shocker. He plunges into the end zone. It's 7-3 Chiefs. Texans wouldn't go quietly, though. Case Keenum, making his first start of his career, hooks up with DeAndre Hopkins' 29-yard touchdown, 10-7 Houston. Back and forth we go. Chiefs on the march again. Smith keeps it in, rumbles into the end zone to put Kansas City back on top at 14-10. Then in the second half, the Chiefs' defense, one of the best in the league, begin to swarm Case Keenum First time Ali gets a sack, forces a fumble. Later, it's Ali with another sack, forced fumble recovered by Derek Johnson. This time, Chiefs do just enough to win again, 17-16, and they improve to 7-0. And guys, that's big for the Chiefs and a big show for us tonight on Sports Sound Off. Well, coming into today, the Chiefs were 8-0, the 20th time since the merger back in 1970 did an NFL team have this type of start. The previous 19 times, 12 of those teams at least made it to the Super Bowl. Today, Kansas City was just trying to get past the Bills in Buffalo for the first time since '86. Chiefs down by 7 in the third. Bills on the goal line, and Sean Smith, he's really fast. Interception. He returns it 100 yards the other direction to tie the game. Fourth quarter, still tied. Jeff Toole hits T.J. Graham. That's on the ground, and that's when Tamba Ali scoops it up and scores the second defensive touchdown for Kansas City. The Chiefs do not score an offensive touchdown, but they still win 23-13. Creighton volleyball